Hey, Bobby, you want to have a picnic?
I can't tell what we're having here. What is this?
This is Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I mean, well, this is Pokemon Scarlet. There is also a Pokemon
Oh,
Violet. Koraidon, what do you get out of here? Get out of here. Go back in your
oh,
ball.
that's there we go.
Yeah, we're just having a nice little picnic with some of our friends here, having a good time. Me and the boys.
Yeah, I see that.
Uh-huh. Okay,
What-
Bobby, this is Pokemon Scarlet. We're playing this on the Nintendo Switch, where it is exclusive to this system. We've talked about this game pretty extensively already. You can listen to those on our regular weekly podcast, The Casual Hour. Listen to episode 300, where we really go in depth on Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Bobby and I have also been doing some streams of this on our Monday show, Casual Mondays. So you can go and watch the last couple ones of those we've done, where we've been playing this game together? Question mark. We'll talk about the multiplayer here in a bit. But I wanted to just show off some of these systems in Pokemon Scarlet and let people know what this game is, because I think a lot of the discussion has been about the technical issues, of which there are many, and pretty sad. I'm gonna admit that up front. This game runs badly and looks pretty poor in most instances. But I think there's a lot of stuff that's being overlooked on this game, good and bad, because people are only talking about the graphics.
Well, I think yes, they're looking at graphics, but there's also like downright just it performs pretty poorly on top of that too. Now that's supposed to be addressed at the time of this recording on December 1st. They have issued a patch and addressed that there's feedback that they're listening to correct that. We'll see what they do, but yeah, Chase is doing a picnic here.
Mm-hmm.
One of my least favorite things that they've added into Pokemon.
So I tend to agree with you. The picnics are generally bad for just the picnic part of it. I think it does make some parts of the game a little simpler in that you can check this basket in front. We'll see if there's anything in there. There is not, but Pokemon here that you bring on a picnic with you can, I guess, slip off and do the dirty, because you'll eventually find a Pokemon egg in this basket if you just leave your Pokemon out here enough, and or you just put a Ditto and another Pokemon here with you, and you'll get those eggs as well. But it's technically better than some Pokemon games in that you can have the breeding really soon. You can also make a sandwich. This is what I actually don't like in this game. I think this is pretty stupid.
This is bad. This is pretty bad.
But let's make a sandwich. We'll use whatever pick. It doesn't matter. So they give you the bread, and you're supposed to put on the ingredients. This one's very easy. It only has ham on it, but let's just put this. We're gonna put that ham on there. What if we do a bad job of this one? What if we put that there? All right, put the bread on top. Yay! And we'll pick that. Boom! Look at that.
That's a pretty gross sandwich. Kind of looks like
It's just ham and butter. I mean, hey, I got nothing against ham and butter, but I feel like you should put maybe a little bit more on that sandwich.
Why are you making a sandwich, Chase?
That's a great question. The sandwiches give you, I don't want to say nebulous. They say what the boosts are right on the recipes for the different sandwiches, but I don't find them all that necessary, and usually not that helpful either. There are bonuses to type encounter rates. So if you're looking for like a specific grass Pokemon, I was looking for a Petalil at one point, and just was having so much trouble finding it, even in the places that it was supposed to be. I ended up making a sandwich that specifically helped the grass encounter rate, and I found one like in 15 minutes. So in that instance, you know what, kind of helpful. There are other sandwiches that can boost egg laying ability, so you'll find eggs in these baskets way more often instead of just standing here like an idiot. We're gonna pack this picnic up. And then I think there are like ones that increase Pokemon power for a brief time, or boost experience points for a brief time for specific Pokemon types. It's a lot like the O powers from Oh, which one was that? It was one of the ones on the DS.
I don't know if I.
Maybe Diamond and Pearl. I mean, it was a system that also very few people used, but it was something you could do on the bottom screen at different times. Anyway, let's show off other stuff in this Pokemon game.
Why does your Pokemon have legs and wheels?
Because he's an ancient Pokemon that is still a motorcycle, but also doesn't use his motorcycling abilities. He just runs on his legs. I don't know. That's I think this is kind of dumb. The future one that you get in Violet, that one is like an actual motorcycle, but it's also pretty dumb. Anyway, this is Pokemon Scarlet. It's an open world game. We can go anywhere we want. You see that watchtower over there, Bobby?
You can climb it.
We could go to there. You could climb it on a ladder. I can't climb it with this guy. But other places I can climb with this guy, although not at the beginning of the game. You start out with this thing. It can't battle, but it is the box legendary for the game. It can battle eventually, just not at the beginning of the game. And you can run around on it like this, and you can jump. You can also pick up these items.
Battle for some time. Just
you're going to get to the end of the game before this thing actually gets to a point where it can battle. But you can, as you do different things in the game, you can get extra powers for it that kind of work like the HMs here. You can give it a dash. You can give it this glide. I think the glide is super disappointing here. Let me show off the glide here in a better way. So you start out like, oh, look, I'm gliding. That's fine. Yeah, this feels like a good glide. And then eventually the game just goes, you've glided enough, and it really puts the gravity on you. That actually was a decent glide. But if you're going up from a really high point, it'll eventually
it's a pretty steep decline.
Oh, yeah. It's a super steep decline, and then it will just kill all momentum and say, okay, you're not gliding anymore. You're just falling now. But it's generally fine. And then you can also get an ability to climb up walls.
Yeah,
so
I find
do that.
That is, I think, the most helpful feature of that creature that you have.
Yeah, definitely.
And
also probably the last one you get based on the way that the levels work for the Titan Pokemon. Oh, you also get swimming. So, hey, I can swim. Look at that. Look, there's a Magikarp. Hi, Magikarp.
With it being an open world, you get a lot more freedom, or at least they impose the idea of freedom on you that you get to go and do things.
Look at this open world. You could do any of these things. So look there. The Victory Road is the 8 gyms. If you've played a Pokemon game before, you'll recognize Pokemon gyms. Starfall Street is about the Titans that we just talked about. There are specific Titan Pokemon out there that you battle, and once you finish battling them, you get there's a guy who's kind of your friend who makes a sandwich, and your rideable Pokemon, my Koraidon here, eats it and then gains a new power as you go. And then, that's Path of Legends. Sorry. Starfall Street is for Team Star, which are the Team Rocket equivalent here, although it turns out all the Team Star people are actually very nice people in a way that is weird to have the evil team not actually be evil whatsoever. Hey, I ran into a battle because the Pokemon was too small and I just accidentally ran into it. That happens all the time in this game. Most of the Pokemon are just too tiny.
It's a very different... So earlier in this year of 2022, we got Pokemon Legends of Arceus. And in that, they really did a very open world, no random encounters. All the Pokemon that you could catch or battle were visible. And I do like that. I think that makes the world feel better. Here, for some reason, they have not scaled the Pokemon in a way that, like, I understand. I don't need a Wooper to be the size of a Dragonite. But what I would like to see is maybe a better way to indicate sooner. And that's one of the issues around performance that we talked about. Like, there's a pop-in that's happening with some of these Pokemon.
Or even this, like that Meryl. Like, if I'm just running, you can't see that fucking Meryl. Like, you're just gonna run into it, and that happens a lot. And it's just it's not the best. Also, if you remember the raid dens from from Pokemon Sword and Shield. They have those here. They're everywhere. They're not just in a wild area, and you can challenge them as a group or alone. I need to actually be online. Hang on. Oops. I sent out my Pokemon. I guess I can tell you about that feature too. Let me connect to the internet and tell you about that. You can also hit a button. Oh, well, okay. I guess the update happened in the time that I've been playing this, so we can't go online. That's fine. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But you can press the right bumper here and send your Pokemon out, and it'll go out and automatically fight stuff. You get less experience for it, but you can do it quite quickly, especially if you send it into a group and just say, you know what, go nuts, murder them all, and they'll do it.
You're also getting materials in this one.
You are getting materials, and materials are a new thing. Let me pop back to the town. Also, no fly, but there is fast travel at the very beginning of the game. Any Pokemon Center you've visited and some other specific spots, you can immediately fast travel to whenever you want. No questions asked. So now here I'm at the Pokemon Center. You can heal. It also has a Pokemart built in. And then what you use these materials on is this new TM creator machine where you use those materials and some money to buy these things. So I could buy the Charm TM as long as I've murdered enough Teddiursas and Azurils. Also, the evolved forms count for these as well. So if I killed that Meryl or Azumarill, yeah, that's his name. You get the same Azurill fur, and I can make one of these charms. So let's make it.
Are those single-use charms, or what?
These are single-use TMs, yes. But you can continue building them. I think it's a relatively decent system compared to other Pokemon games where, hey, I think in Sword and Shield they had, here are TMs that you can use however much you want. Here are the TRs, I think they were called, that you can only use once. And then they broke, and then you had to find more copies of those. I think this is a slightly better system, so you can have really good TMs like Thunderbolt or Psychic instead of making those like single-use items. They're just something you have to expend a little effort to get. And the effort isn't the worst thing, especially when it's, oh, I need to kill a Jigglypuff. Okay, I killed a Jigglypuff. I got the materials for it. I can go take that back and make a TM. I think it's fine. Not great, but fine. One of the other things here, let me find a trainer. That looks like a trainer. Have I fought him? I must have fought him before. But trainers in this game, it's not like other Pokemon games where they see you, you catch their sight, and then they say, hey, let's battle. You have to make the choice that you want to go and battle these guys. Ah, God damn it, Diglett. See? This thing probably has Arena Trap too, which means I need to just kill it. I can't just run away. Anyway. Yeah, but if you can find the trainers in the world and battle them, I ended up getting to a point where I just didn't feel the need to do so. I wasn't getting that much experience here. You can see the yellow border on this one. This guy or lady wants to fight.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
let's fight.
I'm sure it'll be Alba the waitress. I'm sure this is going to be crazy since we're in like the second zone of the game and I have end game Pokemon here. Yeah, level 9 versus 89. I think we got this one, Bobby. Just
give it to him.
Just a guess. This is Skeledirge. It's the final evolution of one of the starter Pokemon, the fire one. And I think
it is the best.
It is
starter.
So good. It is so good. It is so good in design, especially compared to the other two. But it's also incredibly good at just battling. This thing is Fire and Ghost, which is some great typing, and then that move I just used on this thing, the Torch Song, that is an 80 base power fire move, which is really good. Flamethrower is 90, which would be better, except this thing also raises your special attack for free every time you use it, and if you use it once, the next time you use it in battle, you're basically doing a fire blast. It's broken. It is so easy to just absolutely murder teams and just stomp them by doing that. we didn't do a raid battle. I think the raid battles are better, but since we're in this mode where we can't really do the raids with other people, you can do them alone and get other people in there as well. But we'll just show this off to show off the feature, one of the key features of this game, and that is terastallizing, which is similar to your Dynamaxing or your Mega Evolution or your Z moves that they've had in previous Pokemon games. In this, the Pokemon type, so this is a Diglett, which is a ground type. The Terra type, which is denoted by the hat that this thing is wearing. I know its health bar is covering it up, but that is a rock-based Terra type, which means that this Diglett is no longer a ground Pokemon. It is solely a rock Pokemon, which means Torch Song would generally be effective, regular effectiveness on this Diglett in a normal situation. We fought another Diglett, and that was the case. This Diglett is a rock type now, so now it's not very effective compared to other things. Or, this was ground before. Electric attacks wouldn't have any effect. Now it's somewhat effective. So it does change the game in an interesting way. At least, like competitive battles, it would. In this game, it doesn't really change much in like just playing the campaign solo. But when you do fight one of these things, you have to break their Terra type before you can catch them. And I shattered that when I did that first attack. So now I can use a Pokeball, and let's see if I catch it. Hey, look at that.
Easy. Critical catch.
No problem. So now I have a Diglett on my team. Yay. All right, what do we want to do next? Let me check my note here. We crafted a TM. Let's show off the character customization. You'd be like, hey, Chase, look at these cool duds you got on. And I'd say, kinda. So you get, the conceit of this game is that you're at a school. And in Japanese schools, you have 4 different kinds of uniforms based on the season. That's where this is coming from. So my spring uniform would have me in pants but no jacket. Summer is shorts and a shirt, a short sleeve shirt. They're not amazingly different, but they are kind of different. And then that's the only options you get for the clothes on your torso and your legs. You do get socks that you can change, shoes you can change, gloves you can change, a backpack, hat, sunglasses, and a phone case. But yeah, you only get these 4 uniforms, and I think that's a real bummer.
It's a real bummer, especially for a game that is apparently so free and open. And also, this is a game that you can play with up to 4 people at any given time. And if you have 4 people with Scarlet, it becomes really difficult. Or even with Violet, I mean, it's the same outfit, just purple instead of red.
Yep.
It becomes really difficult whenever you have people dressed so similar. I mean, especially with what Chase is doing right now. Like, he's got the Daft Punk helmet on, which is awesome. But I had that helmet on when we were playing on Monday.
Yeah.
And we both looked very similar, which, yeah, that's fine. I'm controlling my character, but I think it just made for less than a desirable
it'd be great to have different pants or a different jacket. Other Pokemon games have done this in the past. I mean, I know that you're going for this conceit of, hey, you're in a school and they have uniforms, but there are other people that you find, other students from the school that you encounter, and they wear their uniforms in lots of different ways. So the lack of customization for the main character seems... I mean, it's a small thing, especially compared to a lot of the much bigger problems this game has, but it's a small thing that matters, and I find that to be pretty disappointing. I mean, that's kind of Pokemon. I can show off some stuff. I mean, let's show off the very important thing here, which is the Pokedex here. You'll see that I have caught every single one, 400. But there are going to be more. They're adding Charizard here in a new special event that you can only get through the raids. There are other Pokemon that you can transfer over eventually, I think. Like from Pokemon Home, once they add Pokemon Home support, or maybe even from Pokemon Go or something. I imagine there's going to be DLC like there was in Sword and Shield, where you can get other. Oops, forgot about that. Oh no. Oh god. Oh, I think
What
I locked.
are you doing? Oh,
I think I
oh
locked
boy.
myself into this, into the bonuses. Oh no. I'm trying to back out. It's not letting me back out. Oh no, Bobby. Oh, I have all 400 and we're only. Okay. Well, let's talk about some other stuff about Pokemon while I button through this. I'm so sorry. I just wanted to look at the monsters.
Chase, you've intentionally put a shiny Pokemon in your crew.
Yeah.
You've this said I've got 4. You've been. This is what happens when you flex. Okay?
Yeah, this has happened. You know what?
Nobody likes a show off, Chase.
Yeah, maybe. Wow. I don't even know if we have the ability to cut this out because we'd have to redo our.
Oh no. We ain't cutting anything. This is gonna be.
All right. Well,
like
while this is happening, let's at least have some good conversation here. I think the new Pokemon designs here are generally pretty darn solid. I think there are a lot of really cool looking ones. There are certainly some stinkers. The starters, I know we talked about. I like all the first stage evolutions of them. I think they look great. But once you get into the second and third for some of these, I got a Beast Ball. Well, I guess they're adding Ultra Beasts here at some point. Okay, well, there we go. We did it. But I think there are a lot of good designs here. Sprigatito, fantastic, but like this is what it evolves into eventually. And I get it's supposed to be like a masquerade thing. This is set in a Spain-like area. So, okay, a masquerade ball kind of makes sense. Skeledirge, we talked about, it's kind of got a Day of the Dead thing going on with its skull head.
Yeah.
And then Quaxley turns into this kind of flamenco dancer. I just don't think. I mean, look at this boy. Look at this perfect boy. Like, this should have become like a greaser looking Pokemon. It needed like a leather jacket and sunglasses and needed to look real cool. And then it turns into this dancer that just doesn't seem to make sense. I don't know.
It turns into a peacock.
Yeah. But I think there's some other good designs. Are there any Pokemon specifically that you can remember that you liked the design of?
I like Wiglet.
Sure, Wiglet's a fine one. Here, I can go A to Z. And there we go. Ooh, past it. Where's my boy? Here's my boy.
It's interesting.
Yeah, this is something we talk about on the podcast as well as our streams, but I think it's odd that they have Paldean Pokemon like that Wooper. Paldea is the region here, so they have region exclusive or region variants like the Paldean Wooper that has a different typing, but it's a Wooper. This is a completely different Pokemon from Diglett, though, despite absolutely just being a Diglett. Like, you look at this thing and you go, oh, that's like a Paldean Diglett? And they're like, no, Diglett is also in this game, so it's not a regional variant. It's very silly. And then it evolves into Wugtrio, which, again, not technically related to Dugtrio at all, despite obviously being what they're going for. There are also Pokemon I'm not going to show off just for spoiler reasons that are called Paradox Pokemon, which are completely separate Pokemon from their normal evolution lines, but Pokemon that reference the other Pokemon that you know. Like, there's a Tyranitar looking Pokemon that is absolutely supposed to be, hey, this is like a weird version of Tyranitar. But it's not a Tyranitar. It's not in that evolution line. It's a completely separate thing. But it's also a different classification than whatever Wiglet is, which is also a different classification from the Paldean region form of something like Wooper. It's a weird thing to have all of these similar kinds of things in different classifications and categories. It just seems messy and kind of sloppy to me, honestly.
Yeah, there's too much going on from if you take in, like, in totality, right? Like, if we say this generation of Pokemon, because you've got Scarlet variants and you've got Violet, but they're all in this generation. Mm-hmm. So you add in the future and past, you add in the regional variants, and then you add in the just downright new, but it's a mess. It's a mess. And I think that it's a very strange oversight, all things considered.
Yep. I mean, I don't. As much as I want to, I don't hate this game. I think there are parts of it that are pretty fun. I find searching for some of these Pokemon to be really interesting, especially when I had about 300 of the 400 and had to really start looking and figuring out how to get these last handful. I generally like exploring the world, even though the world is pretty ugly. I mean, look at these textures. They're look at those rough textures. Oof. It's not beautiful, that's for sure. But I think there are parts of this game that are pretty cool. I'm glad I played it, but oh, look at me. Ran into another Pokemon that was too small. It's overall not the kind of Pokemon game I'm looking for. But there are plenty of Pokemon games out there that I am looking for. I've talked about this before, but there's an extensive ROM hacking and fan game community that is making really cool and interesting pixel-based Pokemon games that riff off of previous titles or work in completely new styles. And I think a lot of those ideas are really interesting and play more like the kind of Pokemon I'm looking for. So if Game Freak wants to go out here and try to do some crazy new stuff and potentially fail, like they have in a lot of respects here, I think that's fine. But it is pretty darn unforgivable for the game to run and look like this, especially considering how much money and how much expectations people had about this, and it just
this is
is
the
not living up
fastest
to it.
selling Nintendo game of all time.
Yep,
it's
also
huge. This is like, look, game development, it's hard.
Yes,
but I will also say, this is a game that is part of the largest media in the fucking world, dude.
Yeah.
Like, this is huge.
Bigger than everything. Bigger than fucking Mickey Mouse. Bigger than Hello Kitty. Bigger than all these other single franchises. Pokemon is the biggest, most selling one. And for you to have your next mainline game look like this and function like this, pretty fucking sad. I get that there are timelines that people expect Pokemon games in a specific amount of time. There's a lot of marketing that goes on here. They got to make cards and anime and a bunch of stuff, and you can't really delay this game without upsetting the entire apple cart of things that you're supposed to do from a marketing perspective and stockholders and all sorts of shit that's going on. But this is not.
You know what the worst part of it is for me, man?
What's that?
Some of the absolute best storytelling in any Pokemon game happens in this one, and it's just fucking buried. It's buried underneath the bullshit, and it really sucks, man, because I feel very strongly that they hit a stride in their storytelling on this one that really, it was touching and it was done in a good way, and there's just a bunch of things that could have been really special, but unfortunately, no matter what they do at this point in time, like, there's always going to be a history of what happened with this, and there's certain things they just can't fix.
Yeah.
Like they can make the game not crash, they can make it load faster. They're not going to put new textures in this game. They're not going to go through and do all that shit. Like, this game,
some modder out there is going to, and it's going to look fine on PC, I guess. Like, people have already done mods to make this run on 60 frames a second through emulator stuff. But But yes, there's only so much you can do before some of this just doesn't work. We didn't even talk about the gym battles. Let's maybe not, but there's kind of this dumb Rocket League thing that you do with this olive one to be able to fight the gym leader. Yeah, there's some disappointing stuff.
I would say I found things to enjoy. I beat the game. I did not beat the decks like you did. Catching Pokemon is always a good time. Like, I like the art of catching Pokemon. I've liked it for decades now, but I was pretty let down, pretty bummed out, and I was really hoping to have higher things to say about this game, because it seemed like it was going to go after things that we've asked for a while, from multiplayer, from open world, for more freedom. maybe even more of a challenge, and it just didn't work out. It's a really unfortunate thing.
Even the part that you mentioned that you liked, which I agree, I think the story in this game is really good. It has these kind of 3 different things you can do: the gym challenge, the Team Star stuff, and the Titan Pokemon, and each one of those feels like a season of anime. And they've got characters associated with them that tell a complete story, and I think all that stuff is really well done. Even that is not perfect, because being a Pokemon game, there's no voice acting, and despite the game appearing that it's built in a way, there's some cutscenes in this game where people are talking to you through text boxes, of course, because there's no voice acting, but the animation looks like they did the lip flap work, they added pauses specifically for how the human would talk if this game did have voice acting, but it just doesn't. So even the great story that's in here falls a little flat when you just have somebody who's supposed to be a rapping gym leader make some hand motions and not have anything come out of their mouth. It's unnerving, and it's disappointing. I mean, I know Pokemon's never had voice acting before, but they have an anime that does. They have many seasons of anime. They know how to get voice acting, and it's just weird that it's not in here at this point. It's silly.
I agree, man, and maybe someday it'll be different. Who knows? But we're getting there.
Yep.
And I hope that people out there can find things to enjoy. I'm certainly not here to tell anybody what they should or shouldn't like. I'm only here to tell you all that I've been playing games. I've been playing Pokemon games for a long time now, and I think this is the biggest letdown in a Pokemon game that I've experienced. I'll let you come to your own conclusion there. I know I've seen it. There's a lot of people who are like Chase, you're one of them. Like, you have criticisms, but overall you are finding joy, and that's great. I'm happy for people that I'm not here to make you feel less than because you like something like this. I might question you a little bit, but that's because you're my buddy. But for somebody else, I would say, go like your shit. It's not for me. Here's why I didn't care for it, but I found these things that I did enjoy.
Yeah, I think there's good stuff in here. I don't want to just come out and say this is a bad game, but it's definitely a game that needed more time and more attention. Needs polish for sure. And also, I still think some of its core ideas about putting a Pokemon game in an open world, I don't think they executed on this stuff as well as they needed to. Just from a game perspective, forget the technical stuff. It feels like a lot of it was not very well thought through, and that's the most disappointing thing to me. But then again, my Dragonite is singing and running around me, and I don't know. That's kind of cool, I guess. Bobby, we've talked so much about Pokemon. We didn't even get to all the stuff that there is in this game. In this here quick look, if you want to hear us talk about more Pokemon stuff and get more in depth on these topics, go check out our podcast, The Casual Hour. Go check out our Monday streams that Bobby and I have done, Casual Mondays. Bobby, where can the folks find those things?
Yeah, it's super easy. We are at The Casual Hour almost everywhere. Twitch.tv/Casual Hour, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 10:30 p.m. Central. You can catch us recording live episodes of our podcast. You can see us playing games like Pokemon here. We post our podcast every Friday morning. Wherever you listen to your podcast, you can find them there. We also bring all of our prior Twitch streams right here to the YouTube channel you're on. So like, subscribe, hang out here. We have a good time. Let us know in the comments, are you enjoying the game? If so, what do you like about it? If not, what don't you like about it? And we would like to hear from you all there. So Chase, thank you for slogging through this open world one last time. And I appreciate you taking time to be a pal in Paldea with me.
Absolutely. Thank you for also being a pal. I'm going to jump in this ocean.
Please do. Right out into the sunset.
Yep.
You little
there's a day-night cycle, and we're in it's already night.
Right out into the moon. The moon.
Goodbye,
Going
cruel
to the
world.
moon water.
No, I can't. I
Sorry
can't die.
about that.
My guy still swims, and there's Pokemon out here. If you wanted to do this too. Anyway, bye everybody.